Hi, everybody. Welcome to Buzzing About Romance. I am Leah, and on this episode, I'm giving you a quick shot of romance, but author spotlight edition. And on this author spotlight, I'm joined by author Linny Mack. Welcome to the podcast.
Thank you for having me. I'm so excited.
Linny Mack grew up a voracious reader and writer. She spent her days of adolescence up in her room writing her own stories and cutting her characters out of the Delia. Oh my God, the Delia's catalog. I love that thing.
Me too.
Now, Linny is an author of contemporary romance. When she isn't writing your next book boyfriend, she is spending time with her real life romantic hero and their three children in New Jersey. Well, welcome.
Thank you.
And before we talk Beneath Still Waters, which is your upcoming release, let's get to know you a little bit.
Okay.
So, as a reader, what drew you to romance as a writer?
I think romance is really most of what I read growing up. Now, I will say that I started with the typical tween stuff. So the Babysitter's Club, the Sweet Valley Twins.
High.
But there was always like a little bit of a love interest in those books. Not
Yeah.
so much the Babysitter's Club, but once you got to the Sweet Valley High books,
Well,
there was
yeah.
always a little bit of a love interest. And I think those were my favorite plots. And so then when I started writing my own stories as a teen, it was always like multiple point of view, and it was always teenagers and their relationships and friend groups and falling in love, and it sounds super cheesy now, but I always wrote romance because I always read romance. That was what was most interesting to me. So it was just a natural thing, I think. And then my debut, Changing Tides, was an idea that flourished into a second chance romance. And I think from there it was there. This is where I am,
Yeah.
I'm a romance author now.
So what made you decide to publish your first book?
So I actually had no idea how books got published. To give you a little background, I was an English teacher for
Okay.
10 years. And then I had my first child, and I have a wonderful mother who lives an hour away at the beach.
Okay.
And she used to sleep over my house to watch my firstborn Monday through Friday.
Okay.
And when I had my second child, she said, I'm not going to do that anymore. So I ended up taking a leave from teaching and
Okay.
staying home. And I was home for almost 8 years. I had a third child, and she was starting preschool. And my husband said, So, you gonna go back to work?
Yeah.
Like, what are you thinking? And I was like, I think I'm gonna try to write a book. And he's like, That's a fun little hobby. And I was like, well, now you just challenged me,
Uh-huh.
like don't tell me something I'm dreamt about my whole life is a hobby. So
Yeah.
I sat down and wrote it, and actually not too many people knew I was doing it. And it was like my best friend who lives next door, coincidentally, and
Oh, that's
she
nice.
would take walks with me and help me brainstorm. And when it was finished, I actually kept seeing on Instagram this girl I went to high school with sharing another person's book.
Okay.
And she kept saying, "This is my friend's book. You have to go buy it, pre-order it now." And finally, one day I messaged her and I said, Hey, I wrote a book too, and I have no idea what to do about it or like how to get it published. Do you think you could introduce me to your friend? And she did. And that girl's name is Christy Schillig, and has become a wonderful friend to me and mentor. And so she kind of walked me through the process of like how to get an agent and how to, edit your book to query an agent. And so she gave me the step by step, and I mean, a Google search could have done the same thing, but it's
But
really
it's
full.
different. A Google search is different than talking to an actual human being,
A
though.
100%. And she talked me through everything. And I remember sending her my first list of agents that I wanted to query. And she was like, This is a great list. They all rejected me. And I was like, Oh, wow. So it was nice to have a friend to sort of bounce those things off of and find navigate my way. And so then, I found my agent, and her name is Katie, and she's wonderful. And then I went out on submission, and here we are. So
Well, and honestly, submission and query is not for the faint of heart.
sure is not. No. Mm-mm.
Because,
In fact, I tell this story a lot when I'm in conversation, and so people who are listening to this have heard it before, but that know me, I mean, um, during the submission process, I was very wrapped up in whether or not this book would get picked up.
Hmm.
My dog is ringing her bell to go
Oh,
outside. I'm gonna ignore her.
I can't
Um,
even hear it, so you're fine.
oh, well, every time I'm making an Instagram story and she rings the bell, it comes up on the story, and I'm like, you wait till I'm talking.
She
Uh,
knows. She
Hold
knows.
on. She does. Hold on. Don't play games. Don't play games. I'm sorry, you can cut that out.
No, that's fine. We have a guy for that, don't you worry.
Okay. So I was like very wrapped up in whether or not it would get picked up. I would almost say that I was like depressed.
Hmm.
And my husband had said to me, like, listen, you have a family that needs you. You cannot live in this black hole. He's like, you wrote a book. 1% of the population can write a book. Like, you should be very proud. If you
Hmm.
self-publish it, you self-publish it. You have to stop. And
Yeah.
so, like, sort of after he gave me that uh talking to, it was our daughter's 10th birthday,
Okay.
and he suffered a severe retinal detachment and
Oh,
he lost
geez.
his eyesight, and it was horrific. I will spare you all the details, but he had multiple surgeries. He
Hmm.
spent most of the fall like recovering from that. He had to lay on his stomach for a month. It was horrible. And I had a sort of like come to Jesus moment where I was like, all right, there are way more important things in life than
Yeah.
this book getting picked up. And I sort of like had this like just major reality check. Like, okay, now I cannot be like this. My family needs me, my
Yeah.
husband needs me. And it was in the middle of one of his surgeries that the offer came through. And I was like, this is awesome. I can't celebrate while
Yeah.
my husband is suffering, but it was something that I needed to happen, I think, for me to
Truly
stop tying
appreciate.
like my self-worth
Hmm.
to this external thing that I had no control over. So that was more than you asked for,
No,
but
that is one of the things that I enjoy about this because everybody's journey is different and the way that people appreciate the offers and things like that is different as well. Because in everybody goes through something to get to that point.
for
Like
sure.
we talked to J.R. Ward and we asked her, and she was one of those fortunate authors who first submission got signed and
Wow.
but she is an anomaly that does not happen. Like
I agree.
I've talked
Yeah,
to
I say
authors where
that's
they
the
got
exception.
yeah, she's definitely an exception because I've talked to authors where they're like, yeah, I got like 50 rejections.
I got a lot of rejections too, and I think that's what spiraled me a lot of the
Hmm.
time, like because for me it was never like indie or trad. It was I'm going to go trad because
Yeah.
I need validation.
Hmm.
I am like I'm not naturally a secure person, and I
Yeah.
needed someone to say to me, yeah, here's permission. You can do
Hmm.
this. Your book can be on shelves. It deserves to be here. And I needed that. And
Yeah.
so if I wasn't getting it, it was like really tearing me up inside. And I know better now. Time has
Yeah.
taught me a lot, but at that time it felt like the only thing in the world that mattered until
Hmm.
it didn't, you
Yeah.
know? So,
Well, I mean, and that those are valid feelings to have. And honestly, like, so writing in itself is an art form and putting
mhm.
yourself out there, it's terrifying. And the fact that like you put love, sweat, and tears into something and somebody's like saying, no, this isn't what I want. And unfortunately, a lot of it's the market too, like what they're
Yes,
looking for and things like that.
for sure.
So Becky and I, like we like to say that every author needs to go through an artist critique because I went to art school and let me tell
Mhm.
you, critique day was the worst because you sat in your studio with your work in front of the entire class and your
Oh yeah.
professors and they ripped that shit apart. And like they're like people do not hold back. Like
No, I know. Matter of
yeah.
fact, my degree is in literature, and I had many classes
Oh, I'm
where the
sure.
professors would do that. They would take your paper
Hmm.
and they would tear it apart in front
Yep.
of the class. And yeah, or you would have a critique partner in class and you would tear each other's work apart.
Yes.
But I do always tell people that are trying to get started, like make sure someone reads it besides your mom or
Yeah.
your best friend,
Hmm.
because they will not hurt your feelings,
Yeah.
So
Well,
even
that
though
or give it to somebody that you trust will tell you the truth because
yes.
there is nothing worse than like just having yes people around you.
Yes. Even today, if it's like, I just submitted my fifth book to my publisher
Uh-huh.
and my husband's like, wait, you let your mom read it? She doesn't count. So, because she loves everything,
Yeah.
So it's that kind of
Yeah, but
thing.
sometimes that's nice too, because it's like you have that support system, and it's like, while it may not be your best work, you know that like somebody cares enough to say you
For
did a good
sure.
job. Like,
For sure.
yeah.
Yeah. There's both sides of it.
So what attracts you? So both your series are like small town coastals and
Yes.
actual coastals, not
Yes.
like fake coastals. What draws you to that specific setting?
Well, so when I wrote the Cape May series,
Hmm.
I knew it was going to be set in Cape May. I actually grew up in Ocean City, New Jersey.
Okay.
And I always joke that nobody falls in love in Ocean City because it's a family resort. It is a dry town. It is where you go after you have the kids for vacation.
Okay.
But when I met my husband, he was a big Cape May guy. And
Hmm.
so that became our date place. It was where we would spend weekends away. And I felt like there was a big gap in Jersey Shore romance at the time. You
Hmm.
have like Nantucket, you have Low Country, you have the North Carolina romances.
Yeah.
And I felt like I really wanted to write about Cape May. And so it was what I knew at the
Okay.
time. And I will say, the Tidehaven books are fictional. It's a fictional town based off
Hmm.
real places, of course.
Yeah.
I would say like it's been compared to McClellanville, South Carolina, a little bit, like sort of in between Charleston, Beaufort, like a fishing village.
Okay.
But I'm just very drawn to the coast. I love small town, but I
Hmm.
myself cannot imagine living away from water. And so I I don't know. I just small town but coastal. I got to be
Hmm.
able to put my feet in the sand. There's even today, if I am having a rough go of it, I put my feet in the sand, I listen to the ocean. There's nothing better for me. There's nothing more healing than the scent of the air and the ocean like lapping at your feet. So I just feel like if I'm writing healing journeys for my characters, they
Hmm.
have to have an ocean. It's a requirement.
See, that's funny. So, I mean, I live outside of Pittsburgh, and I mean, we have like Lake Erie and its
Yeah.
rockiness. And I enjoy the ocean, but I hate sand. So I'm like, I like a
Uh-huh.
pool at the ocean so I can see it and smell it
Yep.
and hear it, but the sand is not
There's
touching
a lot of
me.
people that are that way. I will say that I was on the beach probably at 3 months old. My
Uh-huh.
children, the same. So it's almost like, as natural as taking a shower.
Hmm.
Like,
Well, and
but
like I
I
liked
get that if you're
well, and
not
as I
near
get
it.
older, the less I like it. And like I was telling you but before we started, like I'm very curmudgeon-y and like I like my
Oh,
things. But I also have like a 10-minute travel bubble that I don't really like to go out of.
yes,
And
yes.
so, I mean, the beach is way out of the bubble.
Yeah. How far are you from Lake Erie?
Like an hour and
Okay.
15 minutes, I
So
think.
I've like never seen the Great Lakes. I
I
need to
mean,
come out
they're
there, but
they're fine. Leary, honestly, Erie is probably the worst one, and that's the
is
one we're
it? Is
stuck.
it?
I mean, it might not be. I honestly have no idea. It's a there's a lot of rocks.
Okay.
It's not really
Not like
like it's.
swimmable.
I mean, you can swim in it. It's really
Okay.
gross because it's a
Okay.
lake.
Okay.
It's I'm not really selling it here, but
No, it's
some
okay.
people love it. That is just not my
I
thing.
think there are people who love it for sure.
There
People
are
have
definitely.
compared it to the ocean, like in the
Uh-huh.
middle of the
Well, and I
country,
know
but
I know people who vacation there every summer. Like they go to
yeah.
cabins up there and they love every second of it. I just am not that person.
Okay, that's fine. You can be a pool person.
Like I'm a pool person where I can hear the waves, but I don't want
Yes,
to be in the waves.
that's totally understandable.
So when you're writing your stories, do you have any rituals or habits that help you stay focused?
I am naturally not very focused. I think it's because I write from home, but then my husband will say to me sometimes, like, why don't you go to the cafe and write? Or why don't you go to the library? I can't do that either. I am
Mm-hmm.
like, what's that person doing? Oh, a
Uh,
bee,
yeah.
like I'm
Squirrel
very
brain.
distracted.
Mm-hmm.
So, I got a brick. You've probably heard of the brick. It is
I
very
have.
popular within the author community. And he got it because he's been working from home since COVID.
Okay.
And he only goes into the office 1 day a week now. And so he's like, oh, I got a brick and I bricked myself out of social media for 12 hours and it's so great. You should get one, which for anybody listening, you only need one brick. You both need the app, but you only need one brick. Here we spent $150 on two bricks because we thought we each needed one.
Yeah.
Wrong. But anyway, I usually brick and then I listen to I actually learned about this from the Mel Robbins podcast. They're called binaural beats and they are on Spotify and
Okay.
it's like sound waves for focus. But they also have like for anxiety or relaxation or sleep. But I put the focus one on, especially when I need to focus, and
Mm-hmm.
it really works. It works like very quickly because
Hmm.
I could be all over the place. As long as I brick my phone, leave it far enough away that like I can't touch it, but I can hear the binaural beats because they play from my phone. That's generally what I need. And then I usually have like three beverages, like water, coffee, and electrolytes or.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean those are my main things. And if I'm very focused or like wrapped up in the plot of my story, then I can hyper focus on it. And I
Mm.
get hyper focused, my husband always jokes that like I can tune everything out and like if there's chaos going on around me, but I'm hyper focused on something, I
You
can
hear
tune
none
it
of it.
out. But during the day when I'm here by myself a lot,
Yeah.
no, I'm all over the place. it has to be a conscious effort, like this is my writing time.
Mm-hmm.
The kids are gone from 9 to 3. It needs to be like I have to get stuff done time
Well, and
because of
summer break is coming, so that's gonna be.
and that messes me up because then I try to write at night and the blue light messes with me. And
Yeah.
so I won't even think that it's happening until it's time to close the laptop and then it might be midnight and I'm closing the laptop and then I'm tossing and turning for 2 hours and I
Mm-hmm.
need a sleep aid because
Yeah.
I can't come down from the blue light. And the blue light glasses, sometimes they help, but not
Yeah.
always. So yeah, that'll be tricky. We have some camps. We have some summer camps, so I'll have to be very focused during the time that the kids are gone, but
Mm-hmm.
you know.
So when you're writing your stories, are you a pantser or are you a planner?
I'm a pretty big planner.
Yeah.
Well, I will say the first Kate May book, Changing Tides, nope. In fact, the version that got published was probably like the 12th revision.
Okay.
I did not plan it at all. It was a story that was just bursting out of me. In fact, when I was querying, I had this one agent reply and she was like, so it's going to be a no for me, but I want to let you know that the beginning of the story has a lot of info dumping and you don't need it. So
Mm-hmm.
like she prompted me to go back and rewrite that whole beginning the first
Yeah.
couple months that I was doing this. And that beginning sort of became like a character study in my character Sophie because it was so much of her history that I needed to know, that I needed to have down somewhere for my own creativity, my own
Mm-hmm.
plotting, but it didn't need to be in the story in that way. And
Yeah.
so after that book, I started really planning out key beats or like things that needed to happen. Sometimes I will flesh out an entire scene like right down to like certain lines of dialogue that
Mm-hmm.
needed to make it into the manuscript. Um, so those were very, very plotted. For Beneath Still Waters and the Tidehaven books, they are an overarching mystery. And
Mm-hmm.
so that mystery is going to carry over all three books. And I needed to plan that. I could
Yeah.
not just wing it. The romance, I would say was maybe a little bit more pantsed. I knew like the characters. And in fact, when I started the Kate May books, those books were developed from a character. Like,
Okay.
oh, I have this idea for a character. I'm going to write their story. And this is completely plot driven
Mm-hmm.
because of the suspense arc. And
Yeah.
so I had to plan the whole suspense arc over the three books and like how, I'm sure you've read some of it, the good old boys and their story, because
Yeah.
that's going to carry over the three books. And then the romance I left a little looser
Mm-hmm.
as I went, but it's important, I think, especially in a romantic suspense or another subgenre where romance is not the sole focus, to make sure you plot so that you have an even balance. I didn't
Mm-hmm.
want it to be like, oh, this book is too suspenseful or too romantic. It had to have both,
Yeah.
especially with no like third act breakup or anything like that, because the thing that drives them apart is the suspense.
Right.
And so, you know, um, I guess you would say I'm definitely a planner.
I see, I'm a suspense junkie. Like that is my
Yay.
one of my favorite subgenres. Like
Okay.
I flock to it. I'm a big fan
Love
of
it.
it. So
I love that.
and that was one of the things when I was reading this, like as I was getting into the story, I was like, oh, this is gonna be an overarching. Like I was like maybe 25% into it. I'm like, yeah, this is not wrapping up in this book.
I'm so glad that you realized that, because
Mm-hmm.
there's a lot of readers out there that don't like a cliffhanger. And
Well, and so I hate a Cliffy. I will full out say it. I've said it multiple times. I hate a Cliffy. But like when it comes to a suspense series, I'm a little more forgiving, especially if it like with the overarching storylines, because I like that. But so like
yes,
each book, so three books, three, because we meet all three of the main males in this book, and I'm just going to talk about your book like you're not even here right now.
that's fine.
But all three of the males are in this book, and like you're going to get their individual stories and how things go. And actually,
Mhm.
when I was reading it and we got to a certain point in the book where I'm not going to talk about that because that gives away a lot, I was like, yeah, he's totally not going to be the next book because there's going to be so much more that we
Oh,
need
there's
to know
so
about
much
why
more. Are
he's
you
doing
talking
what
about
he's doing.
Tate?
Hmm.
Yeah, yeah. Tate has a big
There's a lot
storyline.
going on there, and I was
Yeah.
like, yeah, he's not going to be next. Like,
Hang
I know
on.
it. You got to go
The
get the
dog is
dog.
barking.
Okay.
She won't stop. Yes. You got hot, huh? She's a golden retriever and she has lots of fur. So she
Yeah.
likes to sit in the sun, but then she gets
We
very,
have an Aussie collie
oh
who's
yeah.
laying by my feet. So
Oh,
I understand because he is a giant fur ball right now. Like
I
he's a
love it.
mess. He's a
Yes,
mess with that
the
second
tufts of
coat.
hair in all the corners of the house. I'm like,
Oh.
no one come over.
I mean, upside though is they're long, so
Yes,
they're easier.
that's
So,
true.
but
Yeah. So the overarching suspense arc has, I will say it's the most difficult thing I have ever written.
okay.
Um, but it's a lot of fun and I'm
Mhm.
having a lot of fun, especially Colt's book. I can't wait to bring Colt's book to everybody too. So yeah, I'm excited.
Well, so let's talk Beneath Still Waters. So it comes out
Okay.
June 9th, 2026. It is
Yes.
book one of the Tidehaven series. It is Reed and Emery's story. So
Yes.
Emery is a professor at a college who, like, she does a lot of research and things like that, and grant after grant of things that she wants to study and publish, and all those things have been
Hmm.
rejected. And that's
Hmm.
kind of where her story starts, is she doesn't have the support from the boyfriend, and so
Right.
he goes away very quickly. So we
Yes,
don't
he
have to
needed
worry
to
about him.
go away very quickly.
He's a moot point essentially.
Yeah.
Like he just kind of is our starting point.
Yep.
But she does have support from the people that she works with who like
Yeah.
think that like but they also see that she is burnt out and she needs a
Hmm.
break. And so
Hmm.
she goes to this little coastal town in South Carolina and she is taking this temporary research head position, but there's a lot of mystery and
Yes.
intrigue that is attached to this little town that you're not expecting. And so turtles are very important, which I
Hmm.
love the turtles. I love a
Me
turtle.
too. I love turtles.
But Reed in himself, like Reed is a former SEAL. He has moved back to the small town that he grew up in, and
Mhm.
he is very closed off, very he's grumpy, but not grumpy. Like it's
Yeah.
this weird,
He's like guarded.
yes, but he's not like he's definitely not open aside from like with Tate and Colt, who I mean
Hmm.
he has known forever, but there are things that happen and we won't get into that. But so their first meeting, like she goes into the research center to check it out, and he's like, "Who are you and why are you here?" And so it's not
Hmm.
the best meeting, but there's also this connection that neither of them were really expecting.
Yeah.
Do you like an instant connection?
It's my only book that I feel like is real. Well, Chasing Stars has a little bit, just an instant attraction,
Mm,
maybe.
okay.
And then I think in Reed and Emery's case, it's sort of like trauma bonding, but you already know they're attracted to each other, but then
Yeah.
they share this trauma and it
Yes.
kind of helps support the romance. But I mean, I don't know. Generally, I've not written a lot of Insta
Do you like
connections.
to read them though?
Sometimes, yeah, sometimes I'm really like I don't judge. I judge is not the word I really wanted, but I really just love all romance, and so
Hmm.
I'm open to whatever
Whatever
connection the
catches your
author
fancy
wants.
at the
Yeah,
moment.
I will say that here I think it's so funny because if I look at the reviews, some people are like, "Oh, this is a slow burn." And then some people are like, "This was insta-lust." So I think it totally
There's
depends
that, it kind of
subjective.
toes, so it's one of those books that kind of toes that line because if you're looking at it objectively, like it is a slow burn because things don't actually happen. But
Yeah.
there is like this intensity that is building with them from the first moment. But I think part of it is if you like a protector romance, then this is definitely one for you because Reed has that instant protective instinct, and there are things happening, and there is something big that happens towards the beginning of the book that kind of really like creates this. It's not forced proximity because they don't have to be together, but like he
Yeah.
kind of makes it a forced proximity because he wants her to be close so that he can make sure that she is safe, type of thing.
Yes.
And I'm
Yes.
talking vaguely, but you guys know how I do these. Um, but so it's, but I think that's the big part of it is like their emotional connection and their emotional bond through what happened and how he is protecting her and saving her. Like you get that build up, but it still progresses organically and slowly at the same time.
Yeah, I think I really wanted that because I didn't want it to feel inauthentic.
Right.
Um, and I also think that when you're trying to balance the suspense arc
Mm-hmm.
with the romance arc, it does, you don't want I don't want a 500-page book.
No.
So I feel like you need to kind of propel the story a
Mm-hmm.
little bit, but still try to keep it where it could possibly be realistic, as far as the romance developing, whether or not the small town crime is realistic, it's
Well,
fiction.
I mean, it's fiction, but I feel like it's realistic at the same time because what is happening are things that could be happening other places.
For
But,
sure.
and honestly, like the timeline of the story is not that long in
Yeah.
like the grand scheme of things. Like it's a few weeks and
Hmm.
so but there's a lot happening in those few weeks and
Sure.
the mystery and like the backstory of like what is going on in the town and things that happen at the marina and
Hmm.
with the different characters that we meet and during Emery's research itself and how they're like stay away from the turtles and like why am I leaving the turtles alone type of thing. Like
Yeah. Like what could be wrong with turtles?
uh-huh. Well, and so the previous director has passed away, which you need
Hmm.
to read about that and like the
Hmm.
circumstances around that. But it's so I think that's part of it. It's like she's coming into this already started research, but there's already people telling her not to continue this, and she's like, but why? And so
Yes,
it's like she wants to research the things she wants to, but then she's also so bogged down and
for
curious
sure.
about why people want her to leave the turtles alone.
Well, and honestly, when you're told not to bother with something, all you want to do is bother with it.
I mean, I have some oppositional defiance,
Yeah.
so I totally understand that one. But
Yeah.
Reed and Emery themselves, oh, excuse me, like they're more open with each other than they really are with anybody else. Like
Yeah.
Emery, like, she has a good relationship with her parents, but they are a little helicoptery, and like
Mm-hmm.
she's trying to not allow that, but it's hard. And
Mm-hmm.
they're not obnoxious in the way they do it, but they're obnoxious in the way they do it at the same time.
Mm-hmm.
But honestly, like her having that good relationship with her parents, even with like the you gotta let me do my own thing, but like Reed, like he does not have that. And so he's a little more closed off even in that part of the relationship
Yes.
aspect.
Yes. And he like thinks of his family as Tate. I
Hmm.
really like that was my intention. Tate is his best friend, his brother.
Yeah, that found
Colt's
family.
there too, and they've known each other for a long time, but
It's a
and
little
you'll
different
see,
dynamic with Colt though.
yes, and you will see that Colt is the polar opposite of Reed in the next
Hmm.
book. And he does have a big boisterous family. A little bit of the found family aspect comes in that next book there
Hmm.
with that. So I write very different males. They're all a little different.
Well, and
So
even as we meet them, like we need to have that juxtaposition of like characters, and because you don't want to continue to read the same person over and over again, but even like if you look at your friend group, like you mesh well because of your differences.
yes, for sure. For sure.
So one of my best friends, she likes to joke that her parents are aggressively helpful, and we're like, but so are you.
Oh,
Because
yeah.
she just like we refer to him as her dad as the pappy taxi,
Oh
because
my
like
God.
if the kids need a ride, like he is there to take them anywhere they need. And but she does
Oh,
the same thing, and I'm like I am not an aggressively helpful person. Like I will help you because I want to, but not because like I have like feel called to help.
yeah.
And I feel like I mean, there was a point to that, but I feel like like Tate and Colt and Reed are the same way. Like Colt is almost like that aggressively helpful person in the way that
Yes,
he
he is.
presents, and Tate wants to be helpful when he wants to be helpful, and Reed does not want to do anything
Correct.
to help
You've nailed
unless
it. You've
until he meets Emery. He's like, I'm going to help her with everything she needs and then some.
Yes. Yes.
So I feel like having those different personalities really works well with the way that you've introduced the characters in the story
Yeah.
itself.
I'm excited. I'm excited for all of them. Like if I could get all their whole stories out on paper as fast as possible,
Hmm.
I absolutely would because it's just a the story as in the three books
Yeah.
is just one I can't wait to tell. I'm very excited for the way the whole thing wraps up and how justice is served,
Well, I'm
hopefully.
excited to see where it goes. And
Yeah.
because I mean we're left hanging, but we're not left hanging at the same time. Like we kind of have an idea of, but I feel like it's going to be a lot bigger and more like in depth than I even think.
Yeah, and the three old boys, they are all sort of entangled in their own
Mm, mess.
crimes, their
Yeah.
own mess. Yes. So even though they all sort of run together and protect each other
Hmm.
because of their status, they're all sort of wrapped up in their own um illegal doings.
Yeah. I'm
So,
I'm in I'm intrigued and I'm excited to see where it goes next
yay,
because
I'm excited to hear that.
well, and then we get a little snippet into Colt's book at the very end, and then we find out like who his heroine's gonna be, and
Yes.
I really enjoy a story that starts like that.
Oh, me too. And I also like love a strong woman. And so all of the female main characters in these books are educated. Two of them are in STEM, but just strong women who
Hmm.
are like, I mean, Emery, like you might make the argument that Emery like becomes a damsel, but like at the end of the day, she
But hers
is,
is more situational
yes,
because
yeah,
like she has come, she's doing her thing, and she stumbles upon things, and so it's like she didn't there was no purpose, not it wasn't a purposeful thing. Like she stumbled
right.
across something because her own like curiosity of like her studies took her to this situation, and it just
Right.
kind of
I mean, honestly, you could also make the argument that a damsel would not pick up and move to another state and take a director position,
this is
so
true.
she is definitely an independent, strong person and
Hmm.
then ends up needing more
Yes.
protection. So, you know,
So
What better than a Navy SEAL? A Navy SEAL to do it for
seriously.
you.
So Colt's book is next. Do you have anything else in the workings or just going straight into Colt?
Uh, no, nothing else. Colt comes out February 16th, 2027.
Okay.
And so that book is in edits
Mm.
and the cover is finished
It's
and has
it's
been revealed. Yes.
it's real pretty.
All the covers are like similar but
Hmm.
different, and the color, I can't wait to see them all on a shelf together. They're,
Well, and one thing I loved about the book, because I actually bought the paperback because
oh,
oh
thank
my God,
you.
I'm a hoe for a sprayed edge, honestly. But I love the like the typeface that's like in the background on the
Yeah.
cover, like the subtlety of it, where if you're just looking at it from a distance, you don't know it, but there's like handwritten, it's not handwritten because it's a font type, but it looks like a handwritten type of thing, like
Yeah.
on, it was a really, they're real pretty and the
They did a really
colors
nice job
are
with the
like they're
covers.
soft, but not at the same time.
Yeah, like the original mock-up they sent me, their colors were like very bright and like almost like a paint splatter sort of look. And I felt like they
It
didn't
was too harsh.
too harsh. And then so then they came back and it was like almost exactly what we ended
Mm,
up with, except more colors. And I
hmm.
said they were giving too much thriller or like straight suspense to me,
Yeah.
not enough of a romance. And so then we softened it to each book sort of having its own color.
Yeah, because they're
And
real vibrant, but they're like softened at the same
yes,
time.
yes. So I'm excited, we'll see. We'll see. This series has really challenged me
Yeah.
creatively. I read mostly romance, but I do watch a lot of suspense and
Hmm.
action and things like that with my husband. Those are like the only shows he'll watch. So, but I've really started to like love that and think
Hmm.
when I see a good suspense plot, like how can I intertwine it with romance? And
Yeah.
so I think I found my lane for sure. Not saying I'll never write another contemporary.
Yeah.
Um, but it's challenged me in the best way. And I feel like, not to say that like writing contemporary romance is easy. It's not. You
Right.
want people to feel things. But I feel like adding the suspense element sort of gave it this extra layer of
Hmm.
like creativity for me
Yeah.
and kept it fun and interesting for me at the same time. So yeah.
Well, that's exciting. Okay, so now to everybody listening, I decided on a whim at like 7 o'clock this morning, no
Love
joke,
it. I love
that
it.
I was going to add a new little section of the author spotlight, and we're doing a hot take section.
Yes.
So I'm
Let's do
going,
it.
and it's a this or that.
Okay.
Okay. Enemies to lovers or friends to lovers?
Oh, enemies to lovers. You need that tension. I do have some friends to lovers. I mean, my Chasing Stars book is friends to lovers, and
Mm,
then Choosing You is childhood friends to lovers, second chance.
yeah.
But my preference is, and Friends to Lovers is coming back. There's a
It
lot of friends to lovers out right now.
It is, and honestly, I don't really like either one because friends to lovers annoys me because, like, how can you not have had feelings for them forever? And enemies to lovers, there's so many different like correlations where it's like true enemies to lovers or is it adversaries or rivals? And so it's like
True.
I
Yes.
I get irrationally grumpy about that, and like we talk about on the podcast because Becky does, and actually all of it, Amanda does too. So, but it's
If
one
I
that I
have to
had to
choose, it's
ask.
definitely enemies for sure.
Okay, coffee or tea,
Oh, coffee.
iced or hot?
Oh, it depends on the season. So if it's fall, obviously here in New Jersey, it's cold. Then I want a steaming hot cup. But right now, usually cold brew will do it. So
See, I'm a psycho who had like 90 degrees. I'm like, give me a hot cup of coffee. I mean, I like an iced coffee too, but
yeah. Well, you're one or the other. Some people drink iced coffee when it's 30
I
degrees
mean,
out.
I drink them both all year round, but
Mhm.
like, it's so funny. So my mother-in-law, love her to death. She is so funny. She's the one day we were drinking coffee, hanging out, and she's like, I don't know why I'm so hot. I'm like, because it is 80 degrees and you are drinking hot coffee. She's like, yeah, I guess that could be why. I'm like,
Yeah.
okay, physical book or ebook?
I'm an ebook reader. I love a good physical book, and I will have some shelf trophies. I have
Bec-
all my friends' books, but I just don't
But
have a
they
lot
are
of.
just to look at, not to read.
Yeah,
Yeah.
right. Yeah, to read, I like the convenience of being able. It's funny, I saw a reel yesterday and someone's like, it was like, how do you have so much time to read? And then it's like she's got the ebook propped on her dryer while she's folding
Yes. Oh my
laundry
God,
over the sink.
that's me so
Yeah, that's
much.
that's the way you can do it. And really though, if that's the case, then I would make the argument for audio
Well,
because
that was my next question, ebook or audio?
oh, so if I'm making time to read before bed, I like the ebook.
Hmm.
But I do the audiobook a lot, like when I'm just doing things around the house,
Yeah.
folding laundry or driving. They take me a little longer because I cannot listen onto whatever speed.
Well, that
Like
was going to be one of my questions too. Are you a 1x person or a speeder upper? I'm a
do you know some of my
1.7.
wow, some of my friends have actually called me like a psychopath because I'll listen on one. They're like, "What is wrong with you?" I'm like,
I
"Well, I want to hear the voice."
Oh, you still hear the voice, but so do you listen to new books in audio or are you a rereader in audio?
Oh, usually new books, but for a while, my tradition on release day was to always listen to my audiobook.
Oh.
Because in the past, with the Kate May series, I hadn't heard them beforehand. Now,
Mm.
this time I'll get to hear them before release, but
Yeah.
normally I just listen to new books.
See, I'm mostly a rereader in audio, so
Okay.
like if
So
it's a
you've already
new
retained it. Yeah.
yeah, like if it's a new book, it's usually just 1.5. For
Okay.
like rereads, it's 1.7 to 2.0,
Wow.
depending on the
Okay.
narrator. Some
Maybe I need to
narrators
try and speed it up a little bit. I don't know though.
you might it might change your life. I'm just saying.
Okay. All right. I'll take your word for it.
Okay, small town or big city? Although I think I know the answer to this one.
Oh, small town for sure. Although, like, I don't like live in a small town. I live in a pretty moderately sized town, and I don't think I would like it if everybody knew my business all the time.
Hmm.
But I like writing where everybody knows everybody's business.
See, I
So,
live in a small town, but not everybody knows everybody's business.
okay, well,
It's
that's
like one of those
fair.
weird like the population of my area is like well, I mean it might be a little bit more since we moved into the new house, but our old house, like our borough
Mhm.
was like 1,200 people.
Oh, wow.
But then like the borough right next to us also is like that big, but so it's like tiny little boroughs that are all
Yeah.
like the same area.
Okay.
All right, billionaire or blue collar?
Oh. Oh, I like both. But maybe blue collar.
Yeah.
I like I'm not to say that like a blue collar person is an underdog because I don't mean it like that, but I like to watch people who maybe are at a different
Yeah.
advantage achieve happiness.
Yeah.
And so like I don't know, billionaire like come on, the world's at your fingertips. You
Hmm.
know what I mean? So I tend to gravitate more toward a blue collar.
Well, there you go. Well, that's all I
Yeah.
have. Well, thank you so much for joining
Thank
me on this
you.
author spotlight. I appreciate you taking time out of your day.
Yeah. Oh my God, it was so fun. And sorry we got off track a little bit.
That is my go-to, and I really enjoy that. So
Love it.
I
Love
love a
it.
tangent. Um, grab Beneath Still Waters when it comes out on June 6th. And until next time, happy reading, everybody.
Find us on Instagram at Buzzing About Romance or on Twitter at Buzzing Romance. If you like the podcast, please leave a review. If you'd like to support us directly, join the Bookcase and Coffee Patreon and receive exclusive content only available to Patreon members. Check out bookcaseandcoffee.com for our on-the-shelf show notes.